Comin Correct.
Come correct.
These guys come correct.
Comin Correct.
Comin Correct.
Come correct.
Yo, what's going on? It's the Comin Correct podcast to the new Comin Collective platform.
Yeah.
So we're bringing the old back to the new. So today's podcast is going to be a brief over of the topics we talked about over the Wednesday coffee chats we have at the 86
every week.
Sponsor.
Shout out 86.
Shout out to 86. You have phenomenal coffee.
Phenomenal vibes.
Great energy, great music.
Great people.
All the way around.
And the phenomenal coffee. Shout out Riley.
Yeah.
His picture's right here sponsoring. But so yeah, we're gonna go over a couple conversations and topics we had there. If you're interested, we're always there at 8:30 a.m. on Wednesdays. Pull up, come talk, good time. But yeah, excited to get into it today. I'm Joshua Moore, if you didn't know, part of the Comin Collective.
I'm Ricky Rosado, also a part of the Comin Collective.
I'm Joe Yerkins, in addition to them, also part of the Comin Collective.
And here's Riley Rosado. He's also part of the Comin Collective.
He's doing great things in Charlotte, North Carolina right now. So shout out to Riley. Great contribution to the team. He's kind of what got this foundational
Got it started.
offset. Yeah. So.
So yeah,
Really.
He will be here in spirit. We love you, Riley.
Always. But yeah, look forward to getting into it. So I don't know if anybody had a topic they wanted to start off with, or just kind of wanted to get right into it. We have sheets now, so we're kind of
professional.
Certified, credible, whatever you want to call us a Comin Collective, but we'll get right into it. So
We're knee deep into the semester, about midway through. I know life can really come at you in all directions at this time of year, especially with the spring semester coming up, and everybody's thinking about graduation or thinking about scheduling classes for next semester. So it can definitely be a lot and very overwhelming. So maybe to our audience we can give some tips and tricks and how to cope with that.
I was gonna say one thing that immediately comes to mind is having outlets to reflect on yourself. I mean, you guys are about to finish off your college career.
It's crazy.
And there's a lot of reflecting that you're gonna need to do. So I feel like if you guys want to touch on maybe some methods of self-reflection you have in your free time. I know you have very efficient methods.
Sure.
And Josh does a lot of writing. And yeah, if you guys want to touch on those, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. Self-reflection, like Ricky mentioned. So some of the practices that I partake on a daily basis is number one being meditation. Meditation is so pivotal, especially in the development of your young career. In the midst of everything going on with work, class, school, you have to be grateful for the little things. For waking up every day, the breath of fresh air, hearing the birds chirp on your way to class, really just taking it all in. And understanding that God put you here for a reason, that you are destined for greatness. And meditation helps that with me. It really dials me in, kind of activating my subconscious in a way. Really just connecting and feeling the presence of God. I'm not trying to get real spiritual, but faith has really been
it's the Lord's Day, baby.
Sunday, baby. Praise God. But faith has been a critical involvement in the success of this semester for me, and it's just very empowering to see that translate into my life.
So what is meditation to you? Because that's one thing that I've noticed in anyone really that I know that meditates, including myself, is no one does it the same. So I noticed with you, a lot of the times you bring up the little things. And is it for you? Is it walking to class? Is that a meditation for you? Or?
That's a very interesting point that you bring up. So I think that there's multiple different variations of meditation and what that can apply to you. And so, meditation obviously can mean sitting in your room at night, just closing your eyes and just feeling the presence of the Lord. That's my kind of definition of meditation. And then, so I practice that. And then another thing I do is, after I work out, my gym has a sauna that I go into, and I literally just sit in the sauna, plug in some meditation music or, just relaxing music, and I just close my eyes and just connect.
I do like that you do it in the sauna because I feel like it's the perfect place. It's like enclosed. It's a dark room.
Yeah.
You don't have much like stimulus unless you're listening to music.
Except when that one dude was screaming at Joe.
Oh my gosh.
One day, but we won't get into that.
But overall, dude, just like for any listeners out there, like I just recommend to find the time and find the place throughout your day, throughout your week, whatever it may be. Just find that free time just to connect, and it'll have a pivotal change in direction and purpose of your life. I'm telling you, it really will. It has for me.
I talk about my thoughts all the time with you guys, but like sometimes I feel like it can get really jumbled up and like can be a mess with like school, things I'm working on, if I'm living my life correctly, like any of those things. Does meditation help you with that aspect, or does it more like calm you down?
I think it's more, yeah, that's a great question. I think it's more of just like calming, and you know, out of all the stress that you experience and prohibit like throughout your day, like the meditational aspect is really just for self-reflection and calming, and to get you like transition into the next day. And like, I don't know, it's just like, it's a great way to finish off and cap off the day, or whether you do it in the morning, like to get yourself started and energized. But like, it can definitely have a profound effect on, you know, not just, you know, calming yourself, but actually like self-realization too. So I think it can definitely have multiple impacts, and it can be extremely beneficial in different ways, not just, you know, being calm, or, you know, but having that, you know, connection with your faith and the people around you.
I think one thing that we were talking about before that I've heard, Ray Daly was having a conversation on YouTube, and he's saying that meditation is the only way in which you can pair your conscious mind with your subconscious mind. And I'm also in consumer behavior now, and we're talking about like classical conditioning and like the things you experience make you want other things, and like the desires you have. So using meditation as a means to pair those, I think it helps people realize like what your subconscious mind is constantly thinking about. Because you have to sit down for 10 minutes and not do anything and focus solely on being. You realize all the thoughts and actions and desires that come up into your mind, and you get to like recognize them intentionally, rather than like you recognize them and it's like, oh, I need to go wash dishes. You recognize them like, oh, I'm gonna go read a book or go work out. You have to recognize them and like dig deep into them. And a lot of the subconscious like thoughts and behaviors we have, we don't recognize them, and they can be like not detrimental to us, but negative.
No,
like
for
our
sure.
life and the things we have.
It's like hardwiring, you know.
Yeah. So you might not recognize that on like the day-to-day operation. Once you can slow down, recognize like, why am I thinking like this? Why am I doing these certain things? I think that's really important, because it's not something that you learn in school. It's not something your friends talk about like over like a beer or over lunch or something. But it's really just like fine-tuned within you. So I think that's super important, because like the subconscious isn't a lot. You don't have a lot of conversations or lessons over that. So I think you got a good tie with like your subconscious and like how you go about it. So I think that's something that I heard recently. I think it was literally this morning. That's super interesting.
So that's like the subconscious mind in general is kind of like, it's a hard topic for, I feel like, people that are in college, because unless you really take the time to like study on it and like gain knowledge on it, maybe like read a book on it, it's like very easy to misinterpret what the subconscious mind is. So like for me,
even
like
I
exactly, and I'm still trying to figure it out too. It's like a deep mess, but I think like the subconscious mind in general is just like the accumulation of thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that your like brain will automatically like trigger, or not your brain, but your mind will automatically trigger when, let's say, like I'm putting a reaction, or I'm putting a situation where you bring a reaction out of me. That reaction is probably going to be triggered from my subconscious. So it's almost like, I feel like it's just like the hard drive. And like your conscious mind is more just like you like on the computer. And the subconscious is like the memory.
It's so interesting to me, because like as you go about your day, like you don't really activate your subconscious mind. It's only when you're practicing silence. And that's another point that I want to bring up, is practicing silence, you know, goes along. It doesn't even have to be meditation. It can just be literally just sitting and, you know, having just no distractions, and, you know, and like listening to people is like another topic too. Like actually investing in people and like listening to what they have to say instead of having distractions and pulling out your phone when you're talking to somebody or like when the TV is on, like actually making eye contact with people. I'm going way off topic of the topic of meditation.
No, but I'm with you. Like I feel like especially with the short attention span like era that we're living in with like
TikTok.
content moving from, I mean, it was just movies. It was just movies and like episodes when we were growing up, and then it was kind of like like apps like Instagram, Vine, like were introduced, and like the attention span was short, and now it's like the only thing you can find yourself scrolling through is Reels and TikTok.
Dude, it's so crazy how society has changed.
No, and I feel like silence is just something that a lot of people like in college are lacking.
I think one thing for me too, because when I'm like, we're always constantly, all three of us are on go, and I'm sure people watching are always on go. You feel like there's always that next layer, next step, or next task of homework or work or a professional career, personal career, and you have like fear of silence, the fear of not doing anything. Because when you don't do it, you're like, oh, there's something else I need to do. I need to make progress on this. And it's like the subconscious, just like that fear of like missing out, or FOMO, if you will, of just like missing out in general in anything, whether it's fun, work, monetary, like spiritual. So it's like recognizing that you're not missing out on anything, but you're gaining more.
It's so important in your life, and not a lot of people realize that because everybody is constantly on the go, and having so many distractions throughout their life.
And the distractions are like, at least for me, like I always feel like they're external, and kind of what you're touching on right now is like satisfaction, like being satisfied. And I feel like
instant gratification.
I feel like it's really important that you have to satisfy your internal like world with meditation, silence, methods of self-reflection before you can satisfy your external world, which is where all the distractions and work life, like your personal aspirations, like that's where all that stuff plays like a role.
You just hit on a really good point. So internal like versus external. So satisfying your internal connections first is so critical. I love that you brought that up. But in addition to translate into external, like with like connecting with people and having that like communal aspect of having like interacting with groups, and you're like going on trips with your friends and like talking to your family and like being in gatherings. It's so essential to our growth. And that like having that like table fellowship of just coming together is so critical, like based on like the external side. Especially if you can combine those two with like
if you can tie them together, it's like, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's you guys both like taking pieces from both of the points you made. Like focusing internally doesn't mean you're being like you're alone, or like you're just like, okay, I'm gonna go spend some time by myself. But like whether you're at church, whether you're at, like speaking to your mentor, whether you're having a conversation with your friends, I think there's pieces in that allow you to recognize that, oh, Ricky's doing this, maybe I should focus more on this in my life. Or if something goes wrong or something doesn't go as you expected in the external world, then that can be a direction to point you to focus more internally to change the external. I think that's like the biggest point with that. And it's just so interesting how, going back to just like how society's changed. We talked about this on Wednesday for probably like hours. Everyone's so focused on what other people are doing that it's just like you're so focused on what other people are doing that's like the main factor of what you're doing. So you're not even like really living your own life. It's a life of like, ew, I just feel, it's like thought about that. It's weird.
That goes along like with judgment.
That's like
the balance of expressing yourself with passion and expecting others to understand. That's because if you can like accomplish that feeling of
what did you just say? It was pee.
Because if you can accomplish and get through that of I don't give a crap what other people are thinking of me, that you beat life, you know what I mean? Like
you're living based on your passion and not off of other people's expectation.
So and that's I struggle with that too. I think people judge me all the time, but I need to get over that hump and get to that point where I don't give an absolute crap about what people think of me, about what people have to say, because I'm living the life that I'm passionate about and I'm doing me. and that just goes along. I'm gonna say it again. This is a topic on the sheet. This sheet is fire that Ricky made.
Thank you.
The balance of expressing yourself with passion, what you're admired by, like what you're controlled by, like what you're passionate about, and expecting others to understand. Like they're not gonna understand at first what you're passionate about, but over time they're gonna be jealous. They're gonna be like, wow, like he's living a life for himself that's empowering to who he is and who God has shaped him into be.
It takes people some time to catch on to the drive that goes behind whatever work you're showing them. And that's been like a struggle for me as like a content creator, is like I'll create a piece of content that makes perfect sense to me, but like I can't live with the expectation that people are gonna catch on right away. Yeah. But like I know like if I really put my passion into it, it's gonna be good enough that one day they will catch on. If that's not today, like one day they will. One day they'll understand.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest, like whether it's a corporation or an artist or a musician, they have that critical moment in their journey where they were rejected. But anyway, I don't know what came to mind was Kanye and like the Yeezus documentary. And people were telling him he's crazy, the music wasn't good. And he's like, no, I know, like I'm him. Like this is exactly what it's supposed to sound like. This is exactly how it's supposed to be. And now you see like where he's at. And, like every story has that like the piece of like doubt, but the individual knew like the deeper meaning and the you said, the passion they have behind it.
And like this, I feel like the trend in those stories is their internal world was satisfied way before their external world. Yeah. And like that's what all of these topics that we're going over kind of align with, is like you do have to focus on first loving yourself before you can expect others to love you and what you're doing. And that's just like that's all there is.
That's a rule of living a foundational lifestyle, is just loving yourself for who you are. Stop trying to live in somebody else's shadow and be somebody else. Like be yourself. Like you are so powerful and creative, and you don't even realize.
And then to play the devil's advocate too, though, like there comes a point as a creator and a professional, especially as a creator, like what we're trying to do, you have to like recognize people's desires, and that goes back, can you take feedback? Because everyone's not gonna like I think we talked about this before, everyone's not gonna like exactly what you like. So you have to, in a way, be able to shift it where your audience is able to take it in and value it, while also like gaining that passion, the things that come from that. And from the definition we have on the sheet, it really reminded me of, it's in the book, what is that? The 7 Habits of Highly Effective.
Yeah, Highly Effective People.
Yeah, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It had like the definition of maturity is courage and consideration. Like you have to have the courage to go forth with the things that you want and the passion, the desires you have.
Yes.
But you also have the consideration for others' emotions, their feelings, their stance in life, how they feel about it. So if you can like balance those, like maybe sometimes your courage will have to like go above your consideration. Sometimes your consideration will have to go above your courage. But at the end of the day, I think that's one of the best definitions of maturity that I've heard, because it goes into any life, like whether it's in a public setting, whether it's in a professional setting, a project setting, like social media, anything. So that's one call that I had written down.
Dude, I love that.
I think it's good. But the thing I wanted to mention, when you're talking about listening, like just taking that moment to be like meditation and listening, I've recognized within the past couple of days, it's been odd. It's just like certain things keep happening, and you're like, why does this keep happening? Like you recognize something that's like, why am I keep taking notice of this one specific thing? But it's been like when I've been in conversation and like low key in a rush, and like I'll have something to say, but I'll like the subconscious, I'll like recognize my subconscious and be like, okay, I'm gonna hold this in for a second. The person I'm having a conversation with will either like answer the question I was gonna ask, like say exactly what I was like seeking them to like ask or answer, or just like what I was thinking about was just like been fulfilled. And like it happened this morning at church. I was gonna ask a question, and the dude said exactly the thing that I was gonna ask him. I was just like, okay, like maybe you do like just listen, and like if you listen, the answers are there. Like you don't have to force it upon
If you listen, the answers are there.
Yeah, so that was just like, I recognized it this morning. I was like, holy. And then once Joe said it, I was like, That's happened to me like 4 times this week. It's
so
weird.
Bro, I have another prime example of what you just said, bro. And it just occurred to me yesterday. So yesterday I went to this like creative conference in Columbus with my friend Nathan.
What was it called? Plug the people.
It was just called Creative Conference. It was it was this communal aspect of designers and content creators coming together, and it was all centered around like faith and Christianity and how that can like lead to and how that plays a role in like in a designer's lifestyle.
Yep.
And it was like I felt like I deserved to be there just because like this semester has especially been centered around faith and design for me, and it was just so pivotal.
dope.
I was just like, wow, like this is exactly where I need to be.
It was one of those things where like,
it was so cool, bro.
It happened. So this is something that I want to bring up just real quick. We're all people of faith, right?
Yeah.
And when things like these happen, like I've noticed even in my life, like when I was talking about my run with you earlier, like I really felt connected and I stopped feeling the pain. And that was something I had asked for, like through my faith, and it happened. And in those moments where you ask for something to happen and you're living in it and you're able to show gratitude, it's just gonna keep happening.
Yeah.
It's just gonna keep happening because you're acknowledging it for what it really is. Like you going to that conference, it's not a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence at all.
It's a synchronicity.
Like why did I on any given Saturday when I could be doing anything else drive an hour and a half to go to Columbus to this first ever conference that I really wasn't knowing what to expect, but I left feeling so rewarded and accomplished that like God wanted me to go to that conference and and see what he has in store for me, and to network with all these other graphic designers who also like express their faith. And it's just like I don't know, it's just really cool to see.
I love
That's a really interesting point too, Ricky. Like you said, like the things you're passionate for and you're faithful for and you asked for, once it comes and you show the gratitude. I think another side of the coin that's really interesting is like you ask for the things, you get them, but in the moment you don't recognize that you have them, and then you have that reflection point of like, wow, I set out all these goals, I accomplished them. Like the thing I wanted is over with, I accomplished it, and I'm like going on to the next task without recognizing the accomplishment of the other one. And once you get to like, it goes back, it all ties together, like gratitude, silence, reflection.
Empathy.
You reflect back,
it.
and just like, wow, I did this. I set out my goals. It happened exactly how it happened. And now I'm like continually, like you said, layering it on. So it's just like so important of reflection and recognizing those pivotal moments of success. Like that's what happened this summer. Is Riley, like we go back to the podcast on Comin Correct, we talked all about how we got to Red Ventures. But like we set out, I was like, I'm gonna go to Red Ventures. I'm being Charlotte with Riley. Drew ended up being there, so like I had to get it. Like I had to get the offer. Got the offer. Went through the whole summer, and now like me and Drew and Riley always have conversations. We're like, we really like. We said we were all gonna be in Charlotte. We're gonna live there. Like we're just gonna have a good time. It happened. And now you just like look back, like wow, like we got through the process. Everyone got hired, got jobs, enjoyed the summer. Now you get to look back, like we did what we said we were gonna do. So I think that's super cool.
So I think my, and we can wrap it up after this, but I think my overall take on that is like, if you miss the reflecting aspect of an experience, it's less likely to happen again.
Yeah.
But when you capture that experience and show gratitude for it, you're just gonna start seeing those things happen more and more, because you're showing the gratitude for it that it deserves, and like that's just, I think it's like it's a hidden element that's in everyone's life that I feel like we all should conquer and appreciate, because once you do that, it will continue to happen
For sure.
over and over again.
That's heat.
That's so true. Well, that was a great talk, great conversation. I guess to wrap it up, I have 2 little verses from the Bible actually that like relate to exactly what we're talking about. Bro, this is heat.
Awesome.
So this is from Matthew 18-20. For when 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, right? 2 or 3 people, for there I am in the midst of them. Isn't that heat, dude?
Come on.
That's so cool. And then another one, this is from James 1:17. God gives us gifts, although different. We're all talented in our own way. We are to use them as individuals to build the kingdom.
Bro, hold on. I promise you I saw that this morning or something. Bro, hold on. Wait, let me check my phone.
Bro, that's just
I
like
swear
so fire,
I sent
though.
these-
Like each one of us are talented and creative in our own way, and we
Bro,
are like.
what was yours?
It's.
So I sent this morning. It's not the same verse, but I sent it to my friend in my cousin group chat.
Yeah.
It's 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 10. It says, "As each has received a gift, employ it in serving one another as good managers of the grace of God in its various forms."
It just shows me.
So just like that's weird.
Live.
Yeah.
On your favorite television.
Comin Correct. Oh, Comin Correct.
Let's go.
Dude, that's super.
Cut it right there.
Cap.
Well, we enjoyed you listening. I don't know what to say. I'm kind of blown away, but this is Comin Correct on the Comin Collective platform, and we'll see you
Next time.
next time.